Governor Brown.
Thank you. I'm very interested in this topic. As a former transfer student myself, I came from a Jesuit seminary, and I transferred in January of 1960. And I can tell you, leaving a secluded monastery under the pontificate of Pius XII, and the presidency of Dwight Eisenhower, and then coming into Berkeley at the beginning of the student rebellion was shocking and almost traumatic. But I withered it. Anyway, I don't say that my circumstances is usual, but I'm concerned here about the transfer student, the proportion, the rationale, what really is the theory behind admitting transfer students. This is a topic that goes back a long way. As I complete my 12th year as president of the Regents, and I think back to the 8 years my father served in this role, I remember conversations with Clark Kerr and debates at the regental table on eliminating the first 2 years and relying almost entirely on community college students, and making UC starting at junior and senior year. That was considered, and it was rejected for various reasons. But the topic is still a very live topic, as we're hearing this morning. And I want to dig a little more deeply into this whole issue. And I noticed even at the table here, we have a fairly, if I heard it right, a fairly clear demarcation. At the end of the table, Eric was saying, let's have more transfers, let's increase the number. And then in the middle of the table, I heard, we don't want to change the proportion, and we don't want to displace existing freshman students. Well, I want to go right at that issue and ask that we really think through here. What is the role of the freshman and sophomore year? Where should that take place? How much should be in the transfer? Should freshmen be displaced? And should the proportion of transfer students increase? And I'll bet if you go look into your Bohr's files, you'll find this discussion has been considered before in various ways. And I think it would be very helpful if we go back and think, since everyone invokes the master plan, what were some of the discussions, not just around the master plan, but later on what the role is. I think it is critical here that 50% of the transfer students come from only 25 of the community colleges. To increase diversity is crucial to make sure that lower-income families have their shot at UC. And to really maximize that potential, the number of transfers must be increased. It's just much easier to go to a college in your community, not have to pay a board and room, not have to pay tuition with a fee waiver, and get yourself ready to go to UC. So that is a powerful good, given the representation challenge that UC faces. So I don't think we can solve this today, but I do want to see a serious effort, a serious debate here, and it is a debate because there are more than one side, of displacing, I'm going to go right at that statement, displace freshmen with transfer students, increase the proportion of transfer students, and what's the cost to that? What's the cost to the university? Because those freshmen and sophomores provide somewhat of a subsidy, perhaps, to the rest of the university. But what's the saving to the state in the fact that community colleges are cheaper? And the Cal Grant system is also affected. And what I'm worried here is that the cost structure of the university it doesn't really isn't consistent with keeping tuition down and the amount of funding you can expect. I mean, something's got to give here. And the transfer opportunity is a way to to maintain a high degree of quality, increase diversity, and lower our cost structure. That would be my value proposition that I would like to see people at the table here and the academic representatives really dig into and understand that, because I think this is a great opportunity, and I think we have it. And when we think of the changes of what's going on in the world, these three segments are silos to some extent, but we're all about learning and enhancing the creativity and the skills of the people of California as they come out of these three systems. And that interaction, that collaboration of the three units, community colleges, state colleges, and UC, has to be looked at together with the online opportunity, as well as the transfer from Jesuit seminaries, if there be any in those things anymore, or life experiences from the Army. There can be transfers. It doesn't all have to start. I brought 92 units to when I came into Berkeley, and made life get out pretty quick under those terms. But I think we've got our hands on something very important, because it deals with affordability, it deals with diversity, it deals with the university cost structure. So I intend to get into this very seriously in the months ahead, and I welcome anybody's suggestion or ideas, because this is not easy stuff. I think this is hard going, as witness what's happened to the 1440 degrees, so-called. And it's not easy anywhere you look at it, but I think we can get more people of diverse backgrounds and low incomes into the university, save money. Then, by the way, I have just one more point. How much does the university increase its overall enrollment? The graduation rate from California's high school is going to be flat between now and 2025. So that source is not there. So I would raise the further challenge that growth in itself is not a unchallengeable good. We have to live within limits. And as the governor, I'm facing over $300 billion in unfunded liabilities and expectations that far outrun what are the likely tax revenues that will be available. So we have to balance these competing demands of diversity, excellence, and available revenue. And that is something that I have to say we have a long way to go. We have a long way to go in the legislature, in the executive department, and at the university. And in the past, all the bright people have made some real big mistakes, like not contributing to the pension fund, for example. In the state over there across the street, building up massive unfunded liabilities. So we want to think, if we look back at all the smart people that made a lot of bad financial judgments, what ones might we be making, and how might we curb them consistent with our collective goals? So that's my program, and I'm going to be at as many of these meetings as I can attend, and as I try to curb the spending across the street, I'll try to enhance the creativity over here.
Governor, thank you for your comments.